writing these books. Like, that's why I write books. I'm trying to write, and then you do the reading to go with it. I mean, in the time, just because I want to ride my bike and I want to happy hour and all that. How do you do it? Like you're doing a lot.
Yeah, you know what? I am. So first, I should say this. So the question is, how do I find the time to do all the work, to write all the books and stuff? And the truth is, if I'm being completely honest, it isn't always the healthiest thing. My mom is here, and she knows that. And she's always like, you need to take a break, right? Take a rest. Are you eating? Are you sleeping? And the truth is, I don't sleep enough. I do eat well, better these days, but I don't sleep enough. So I can't tell you that there's any sort of magic to it, except for the fact that I'm a bit obsessive in all the ways, for the good ways and in the bad ways. That is sort of what comes with this, and I'm working really, really hard to not work so hard. I'm working hard to pull it back a bit, especially next year. I mean, I got 3 books coming out this year, and I'm on tour from basically now until December 1st, and that's just no way for anybody to live. It's hard. And I work on the road, I work in hotels, I work in airplanes, I work in airports, I work in the back of cars, I mean, wherever there's nothing precious, there's nothing sexy, there's nothing, like, all of that whole, like, I need my coffee cup and all of that's over, right? Like, it's me and the words and me and a notebook when I don't have my computer. My computer, when I have that, I'm a big guy and I'm sitting in a little teeny seat in the airplane, sort of T-Rex in it. You know what I mean? Like whatever it has to be is what it has to be. But I don't know if I would recommend that.
Your personal life,
and my personal life, like, you know, I got friends and family that I don't get to see as often as I like, and more than anything, my health suffers, right? And not just my physical health, my emotional and mental health suffers, and that's something that everybody needs to hear. Right? Like, everybody's like, yo, Jay, we proud of you. And it's like, but my friends, people who know me, they're like, yo, so you good? You need a break soon? You going on vacation soon? Just checking in with you. Like, I'm gonna go see your mother. Your mother's concerned. She told me to reach out to you. Right? Like, this is the way my life really is. This is the part that people don't ever see. And so I hope y'all enjoy the books. If you don't, just know that I've sacrificed a whole lot to make that happen. No problem, thank you.
I just want to say I am really happy that I came here to listen to you talk, because I work in Baltimore and we're having a Baltimore ceasefire day.
Yeah, sure.
It's, you know, like all the young men and women that undergo a lot of the stress of living in a pretty dense area on a regular basis, you know, they probably have a week to breathe. So my question is, do you believe that we'll ever reach a time to which black faces in comics will be more normalized? Because I think in the last decade we've kind of regressed a little bit. Like, there's been more of a combative nature as comics have expanded because of the movies, and now that we have new people entering into it, they are protectionary of Spider-Man. Because like, there's a caveat. Like, Spider-Man technically, well, they had to say, oh, this isn't Earth. This is kind of nerdy. This isn't Earth 616 Spider-Man. This is the ultimate Spider-Man, you know. So don't worry, you're Spider-Man.
He's safe. You're Spider-Man.
Don't worry. Even though he dies, comes back.
Don't worry.
He's safe.
Right, exactly.
But do you ever think it's gonna be like normal? Like, it's just gonna happen?
Well, you know what, man? If I'm being completely honest with you, after what I experienced making this book, yeah. The person who is making a lot of these decisions right now, at this moment, who knows if she'll stay, but at this moment, is a brown woman. She ain't playing no games. And I mean, but what will have to happen is, and I am grateful to be a part of sort of the Spider-Man legacy, but what will actually have to happen is the creation of new heroes. Right? We need, instead of us sort of going like, yo, I'm gonna make a black Spider-Man, then I'm gonna make a Muslim Spider-Man or a Muslim Spider-Woman. Right? And then I'm gonna make, right? Instead of doing that, we need to just be like, yo, this is a new hero, got new qualities, new superhero, new, like, and nothing you can say about it. This is what's happening. But when that happens, we all have to support it. Yeah. So what we don't like to talk about is the fact that we want what we want, but we don't want to put them dollars behind it. And this is business. This ain't about fandom. It's not about hobbyism. It ain't about this is business, right? So if we really want what we want, then we need to put these bucks behind it to make sure that they see that there's financial gain on their part to keep making it. Please believe this is about self-interest, right? Don't ever get it twisted. They ain't doing nobody no favors, right? if we figure out how to make this work sell, like Miss Marvel is blowing out, right? Which is a good thing. My mom is like, I don't know who Miss Marvel is. That's probably one of them around here somewhere. Here you go. Miss Marvel right here. There you go. Kamala Khan, you know what I'm saying? You don't know. But yeah, but we need, you know that exactly. But look, if we figure out how to but that's what we have. It has to be that, right? It has to be that kind of thing. And I think, I mean, look, we're getting ready to see something serious in February. This Black Panther movie, right? And I think we all, it's like, feel it though. It's about to be massive, right? And we need to make sure that when it does blow up, that we continue to support it. It broke my heart when they were that they were discontinuing Ta-Nehisi's Black Panther. That's a big, this is what? That was the word on the street, that it was being discontinued for whatever reason, right? And my thing is this is imagine, Ta-Nehisi is Ta-Nehisi, right? So that's like saying not that he's James Baldwin, because he's not, but that's like saying James Baldwin writing Superman in the 1970s, if that were a thing. Imagine that, right? This is a huge deal, and it's been discontinued for whatever reason. And there's some other things happening, probably. But I think that as long as we make sure whoever the next person is to take that on, we gotta go in. We just have to. And and Miss Marvel and all the other characters that are coming out, and there will be more coming out. We gotta. I mean, what's the joint? Gabby Rivera. What's her book?
America.
Yo, lesbian Latinas. Everybody just buy it. Right? Everybody just get on and just buy it and support that so we can make sure those books continue to exist.
That's right.
That's a big deal. But if we're not gonna do that, then we gotta stop talking.
That's right.
Right? If we're not gonna do that, then we've lost our privilege to party. Period. All right? That's all I want to say. If we with it, then let's be with it. But if we ain't with it, then let's stop trying. You know what I mean? Put your money where your mouth is. Next question.
Yeah. So my son, he's been writing books. He's over there saying hi, Jacob. He's been writing stories since he was 10, and he has all these great stories. So what is your recommendation of getting his voice out? Because I'm glad we came here and got to see a representation of himself, older,
It's different. You know what? It's different now, man. When I was coming up, to get a book out was a whole other ball game. And there are all kinds of different avenues to do it. First of all, I met Jacob earlier. You man, mommy issue.
Yes.
Which I personally appreciate. I like that kind of stuff. Jacob, say hi. I like that. But you know what? It's different. It's different now. When I was coming up, you had to put all your money up. You had to put all your money up, pay for designers, get somebody to do your book cover, front the money, and they send you 20 boxes of books that you got to hustle out of the trunk of your car. Them days are over. Right now, the way that you get to do it is the internet is amazing. The internet is amazing. There are so many different ways of doing this. Whether it be if you wanted a physical copy of your what kind of work you write? Prose? You writing stories?
Yep, stories.
So the kind of work you're doing, man, you can do. There are so they got Blurb and Lulu, Amazon. I don't really Amazon, but it's a platform. You know what I'm saying? What's another one? Kickstarter, you know what I mean? There are all these different avenues now for you to get this done at almost no cost, right? At almost, which is always a thing, right? Lulu and Blurb and these sort of platforms, what you can do is you can upload them to this site. You can set your price. They'll tell you how much it's going to cost them to print it. So they say, it's going to cost us $3 on an hour to print it. You set your price at $10. You blast it out to all your friends. Yo, this is the link to buy my book. Your friends buy your book, and they send you $7 checks in the mail.
Nice.
That's how it works, right? If you want to make sure you get your book, if you want to go through the process of getting a barcode, right, ISBN numbers, making sure your book is registered by the Library of Congress, that's simply a Google search. They send you a packet, you give them a couple of bucks, you send it in, and that's that. Right? It's not as hard. And when I was coming up, none of this information existed because the internet wasn't even a thing. Right? So now you have all this information, dude. It's not nearly as hard as it was, so you have no excuses. All right, that's it. This is Tiffany Jackson, also an amazing writer. She has a book called Allegedly. Check it out.
So in the process of writing this, did you ever come up with your own superhero character that you may explore at a later date, just to put more work on your plate because it's never not working?
I've been thinking about it, but I can't give none of it away. But I've been thinking about it. I did make up my own villain, and that's what made me want to make up my own sort of superhero. That Marvel let me make my own villain. I guess, should I tell you what it is?
But it's just so, the reveal.
All right, we will ruin that one.
But it's so like. I'm sorry,
It's
like,
wild.
It's wild.
Tell it.
It is.
So-
Y'all. We're so used to seeing a superhero fight someone who wants to take over the world. We're so used to seeing someone who wants to rule them all. We get that, but in a way that speaks to what's going on in the world. Y'all, we're dealing with the idea of a hive mind, of people being controlled, of Miles Morales fighting in many ways and in all ways, fighting the white supremacist power structure in the form of problematic teachers who want to suspend boys because they needed to go to the bathroom. Message. Or about a system that just simply says, as opposed to, when two or more gather together, there's something holy. When two or more gather together, there's something criminal going on. Message. I mean, so Chamberlain, the name Chamberlain is in many ways like this. Yeah, I'm doing too much. So I know y'all still asking. You're still asking who's the villain. The villain, in the grand scheme of things, is this white man who has access and opportunity and wants to make sure that only white people have access and opportunity. And the idea is, if we want to talk about Lord of the Flies and fancy thinking the beast is something you can hunt and kill, oftentimes we are trying to look for something that is concrete, this concrete evil, when in many ways it's an abstract aspect. We see Miles Morales doing something that only a superhero could do, fighting and defeating in many ways, or attacking both the abstract and the concrete forms of white supremacy. This is more than the Green Goblin. Shout out to the Green Goblin. Osborn's doing some crazy stuff and really, but I say that with love. I say that with love. So yes, the villain is dope. If y'all didn't already know, I'm really hyping. I want y'all to buy 4 or 5 copies. So,
Word up. Thanks, Brandon.
So me coming here, I actually got really excited about it because I learned about Miles Morales a couple of years ago. But how I learned about him, I was bored with Mars knows I'm an artist, so I used to go there just to draw, come up with some ideas, even just to read to get some ideas. So when I saw the new Ultimate Spider-Man, I was like, what's the new outfit? So I was like, whatever, I'm just gonna read it. So as I'm reading it, it's just it's a black Spider-Man? What is this? So reading more and more, I got really drawn into the character, so as I get into it, started learning more about him, it's I wonder what happens more as he goes down the line, because I like that he's a fresh start. I like Peter Parker, but I want to know more about Miles Morales. Right. And since you were saying about you got a chance to fill in the holes, because when I first read it, I was just it feels rushed. Okay, I know who his father is. Apparently he's a robber. Okay, got it. Got his best friend, found out he got his power. So it's okay, I understand. So I guess my question is when you were presented this opportunity, did you were you excited about actually developing this character, actually building a story? When you read other comics based on it, what were some challenges that you came across as you're seeing a new Spider-Man take the mantle from the previous Spider-Man?
You know what? So look, here's the thing. I was definitely sorry. So look, when I said yes, they sent me a package of every single thing with Miles in it. Right? They sent me a box of all things Miles, right? Because I had to read up, because I was kind of I was green, and I was all right, let me see what's happening here. So I started reading, and there's one comic, I can't remember the edition. Probably at some point I know Marvel's gonna give me a call and be like, you can never say these things. It is what it is. The book is out already. There's one comic where Miles is fighting, and the people who read the comics, you're gonna know exactly what I'm talking about. So Miles is fighting this monster. And the monster rips his costume. This literally is what made me say yes, right? And what made me want to do everything, change, what made me want to really get in there and make something happen. Miles has his costume ripped. He gets back to his dormitory, and his best friend is on his laptop, looking at YouTube clips because this young lady was watching Miles fight the monster and videotaped him and put it on YouTube. And she's talking about it, and she zooms in and she says, everybody, you're not gonna believe this. Spider-Man is black. Spider-Man is brown, at least, right? We don't know if he's black, but he definitely has brown skin, right? We know that, right? And Miles was watching it. His man is like, yo, this is amazing. You're famous, right? Like his man is going in. And Miles says, oh, you have it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. What does he say? Let's read it for the people.
Think back to the Negro artist in the Racial Mountain. Black Spider-Man. I don't want that. This is Ganke speaking now. Want what? The qualification. You're losing me. I don't want to be the Black Spider-Man. I want to be Spider-Man. Okay, boo, you're Spider-Man. First of all, I'm half Hispanic. So tell her, this is really bothering me. I'm gonna go shower.
Alright, now look, here's the thing. To me, I don't have a problem with him making the qualification of being half Puerto Rican because he's half Puerto Rican. I do have a problem with him being afraid to be considered the Black Spider-Man. And the reason why, I have a really hard time. I really do. I have a really hard time with that. Like, I literally fell off the bed. I was like, what is this, right? Because to me, right, and obviously to him, right? to us, truthfully, to us, this is a form of violence. This is a very touchy thing. Because there are so many kids who read this novel, this graphic, this comic. So many people read this comic. And what could have happened in that moment is a fortification. Literally, a moment where every kid who's reading this novel can puff his chest out a little bit. And instead, he burst the bubble. Yeah. And at that one moment, I was like, oh, nah. Because there's nothing wrong. There shouldn't be anything wrong with being the Black Spider-Man. There's nothing wrong with that. This kid from Brooklyn at that. I'm like, bro, that ain't the way that goes. You know what I mean? The way that goes. Yeah. Any other questions?
What are you thinking?
The same thing I'm thinking.
We've heard it a lot, but it's good.
Alright, so one, I've known
Rashid, I knew that. Yeah.
No, man, like when I heard that you were doing the book, I was like, because like I literally, when I heard about it around the same time that it was coming out, I've had so many problems with that. Like, you write a good Spider-Man, but you don't write a good Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's what it is.
You know, like I was talking, like me and Jabari talking, we back and forth, like I only had a different haircut. Since the beginning,
which
60-year-old kid in Brooklyn, I ain't heard him listen to now one rap song. I ain't heard him like, he ain't got in court. I'm a black dude from Southeast. We get on the court.
Like we on the court.
Like court, you go into the court, you gonna have a different hair. Like that moment in the book. I accepted them. What do you gotta stop.
Yeah, that was my whole thing though, right? And I think we can talk. Like, here's the thing, right? I wanted to make sure because people are like, "Yo, we want you gonna make." Look, I was in Tulsa, Oklahoma when I first got the deal, and I'm like, "Yo, so there's news that I might be doing a Black Spider-Man." I'm talking to all black boys. They're like, "What? There's a Black Spider-Man?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's probably going. I mean, it's one already, but I'm working on a new version of it." And they're like, "Yo, he going like." He gonna have like Jordans now? Like he gonna be wearing like I was like, I don't know. Like, you know what I'm saying? Is he gonna be like and they literally had questions about like, yo, is he gonna have him like at the like he gonna like hanging out on the court? Like he gonna I'm like, I don't know, right? And here's the thing, right? Miles because I'm also very careful about making sure that we know that blackness isn't a monolith. Right? We all don't do all the same things. Right? Like that's also a big deal. So actually what you see is you don't necessarily see Miles in all these spaces, but he's uncomfortable in all these spaces. Right? So you see him in the space. He's at the court, but he like, all right, bro, I'm trying to get back to school, right? He can't dance. He can't dance at all, right? Right? Because I wanted to also say, like, yes, this is a part of, these are cultural touchstones, right? From a broad sense, but we also are, there are millions of versions of blackness that should be, I mean, like if you're a black person in a comic book shop, that's a separate thing. Yeah. And there are a lot of us who would say that's not a part of the cultural code, when really it is, because the code is broad, right? And I just wanted to make sure that whatever section of that code that I chose, I gave it all the texture and nuance and complexity and richness that I could. That's it. It wasn't about being honest. It wasn't about representing all of blackness. It was about representing Miles as authentically as possible. But I feel you, bro. That scene in that comic, I was like, oh, no. All right, any other questions? I don't know how much time we got, by the way.
All right.
We good? Okay.
So
My mama don't do good with heat. It's getting hot. Just making sure. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So first of all, thank you so much. And since we're there, we're having this conversation. I wonder, earlier you talked about knowing already how the end of those 10 pages go, right? Spider-Man's the victor. But we're living in a world where the black body is not. So could you talk for a bit about the push-pull of knowing that Spider-Man has to be the victor that Miles is back established?
Well, I want to talk about it, but I don't want to ruin the end of the book. I don't want to ruin it.
It answers your question.
It answers the question. But because what you're bringing up is a very real thing. It's a very real thing. And the one thing I'm always afraid to do is tie books up in this really sort of kumbaya way, because that's not how life works, you know. The truth of the matter is that the day after Miles beats anybody he's beating, he still has to be Miles. Which means he's still faced with the same issues that he had the day before. The Spider-Man costume doesn't protect him from those things. Right? In the same way that a suit don't protect you from those things. In the same way that a basketball jersey doesn't protect you from those things. Right? Like, you are who you are out here, because until you, and that was very important for me to also say. And so, without giving away the ending, just know that it's addressed. It's addressed. Yeah, sure.
Hey, cousin, what's going on?
What's good?
Hey, screenplay.
That ain't on me.
Spike Lee.
I told them. Somebody was asking me recently, like, yo, if they do a movie, because they're doing an animated movie, but that has nothing to do with me. I always say, I told a brother who works for Disney, I was like, look, if y'all do a Miles Morales movie, like put your foot in it. Oh, let's see. There's not been a movie I've seen that is shot as well as Moonlight. Let's do that. Right? Let's put Miles in that. Let's give Miles that kind of light. Let's put him in that, right? Let's make a cinematic masterpiece around Black Spider-Man, right? The same way, like, for instance, to me, Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight is genius, right? Let's do that. Right? I just finished watching Logan, and I was like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, this is amazing, right? Let's do Luke Cage, the Marvel's Netflix Luke Cage is amazing. Let's do that. Let's just make sure we get it. I just want to make sure that whatever they do, they don't turn it into like
Iron Fist.
It's terrible. Don't turn it into Iron Fist. Don't turn it. I don't want nothing hokey. I don't want let's make it. Let's give it some grit. Like, let's show it as it actually is. I mean, this, like I say, from Brooklyn. Let's show. I mean, like, people can say whatever they want to say about Spike, but those early, that 1988, 1989, 1990, 91 stuff, come on, bro. For all of us who weren't in Brooklyn, we always in there like, yo, Brooklyn? Like, Brooklyn? This is amazing, right? For us, for people who weren't in Brooklyn, right? And I think I would love to see that kind of texture where you felt like, yo, there's just, I feel like I can touch it, right? I want that for now, if there's ever a screenplay, which there may or may not be. So I don't know. So Marvel is like a vault. No one knows anything. They don't even email. Marvel won't send emails because they can't risk leaking. So if they don't call you on the phone or meet you in person, you just don't, like, they'll send messages to other people. Like, it's wild. So seriously, it's crazy. So I won't know about if there's going to be, if I'm doing like a monthly sort of Miles. I would love to, honestly, I would love to just do a monthly Miles thing. That would be dope. I don't know if Bendis is comfortable with letting go of it in that way, and I get that, right? Like, that's totally understandable. It is not my opinion. This is my version of something that he did, right? So I have to be respectful of that. So if he doesn't want to let me do it, I get it, and then there's no love lost. I get it, but I wouldn't be opposed to it. But when I found out, you'll find out. But I know nothing, right? Superheroes, right? The big dogs. Does he get to have his spot in the big league? originally I was like, yo, I want to like incorporate some other people, and Marvel was like, nah, right? And at first I was upset about it because I was like, dog, I want to like really kind of build the world out. I actually wanted Peter Parker. Originally I wanted Miles to be working on the weekends at a bodega, and one day Peter Parker just walk in to buy groceries, but that was it though, just to buy groceries. And like they have a moment where it's like, I know you, you know me, but we ain't gonna say nothing to each other, and you leave. And I was just gonna be like a cameo, and for me I would have been like, yo, that's funny as hell. Like, I just thought it would have been like a nice joke for me, if that was me. But they were like, nah, right? And then I realized that that's a gift. The truth of the matter is, dude, is that had I brought in all of everybody's favorite heroes, it ain't a Miles Morales. He deserves his own time. Right, in his own space, and so I'm glad that I didn't. That it's not about nobody else. I don't mention nobody else. Ain't nobody else. This is about this boy and him navigating his space. That's it. So maybe you'll tell if I do some other stuff. If there's a sequel or whatever, I don't know if there will be, but maybe I'll do some of that stuff. Yeah.
So we've talked about this long before, but like after seeing Spider-Man Homecoming, which is really good movie. I don't know. Have you seen it? Well, I don't think this is a spoiler, really, but like, so Peter Parker in this, he's like 15 years old. He has his own like friend who figures out he's Spider-Man. There's like we've talked about the fact that he's literally a almost a carbon copy of Ganke.
Yo, I saw it. I saw him.
So it's like. I mean, like, I really loved his appearance in there because his character was really fun and the entire movie was great. But, like, Jabari specifically, and then, like, of course, or just anybody who comes from either, like, our Black Panther book club or, like, whatever, we end up finding, like, it always ends up shifting whenever Spider-Man comes to function. Like, we start talk about that. So, like, how do you feel
about that? I mean, I don't know. I saw... When I saw, so look, a buddy of mine sent me a clip, like a still shot of who I thought was Ganke, right? They're like, yo, I think Ganke gonna be in the movie. And that's good for you, because then that means that Miles is like coming, right? They're like, this is gonna be a good thing, this is gonna be a good thing. And then my homegirl called and was like, yeah, bro, that wasn't Ganke. His
name is Ned.
His name is Ned?
Even though, like, no, but
what?
Yeah.
What?
They literally just like took him
and changed the name.
Yeah, but here's the craziest thing, because in the newer book, Ganke tells the girl, the same chick, is like, call him Ned. And I'm just like,
oh, really?
I was like, y'all,
really?
Yeah, like
I have no comments. But my Korean homies probably have comments. But even though well, it's a whole other thing, but whatever. But I don't know. I honestly don't know. But it'll be interesting to see what creative hijinks they figure out to fix that. If they do a Miles story, or they'll just but Marvel also has no problem just being like, well, we ain't including him in the Miles story. Like they really just do whatever they want to do because they know they're fail-safe. And this isn't a diss. It just is what it is, right? Marvel knows that they're Marvel. They do whatever they want to do, and everybody gonna show up. And that's, I mean, you know what I mean? They could be like, yo, we gonna have his new best friend is actually Vietnamese, and like his name, you know what I'm saying? Or a new best friend is, Somali.
Actually Japanese.
Or actually Japanese. And everybody gonna be like, oh, okay, like, it is what it is. You know what I mean? And we'll roll with the punches. But I don't know.
But there's also like Donald Glover does appear.
As Aaron Douglas, right?
Right.
That's Miles' uncle, by the way.
Yeah, but as Miles' uncle, so it's just like Miles showing up. He mentions a nephew.
It's coming.
And my understanding is that the guy who played, I think they call him the Prowler in the comics.
Yeah,
the guy who played on screen referenced the nephew's name as Miles.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Look, I know it's coming. I just don't know when. Right, the movie, and I know I ain't got nothing to do with it. Also, just so you're all clear, I have nothing to do. We were like, yo, Jay, you give me in the movie, son. Like, I don't know nothing about no movie. I have nothing to do with no movie. But I hope it happens, and I hope they do it well. I hope they let me. I hope they allow me to sort of be in the space where I can at least be like, yo, we should probably try to do this or try to do that, or maybe we should make these moves and not this one. Maybe you shouldn't do that because that ain't really how that go. And y'all gonna have a Twitter war, right? Like, and so like these are things that I hope they allow me to do, but I can't guarantee. Or even just make sure that they got black writers on staff. I just want just send me a picture of your writing room and I'm on that, right? Like, and I'm good with you.
With that in mind, I know
I guess kind of wrapping up. I didn't know if you were going to be a piece or if you were to ask me questions.
I mean, it depends. What time is it? Not that it matters. 6:15. Okay, that's what's up. Did anybody have any other questions before? If not, I'll read a couple pages and maybe the book. Yeah. You had it.
So, I feel like this is really the first time where Miles can be unapologetically black. But then also, this, based on the sampler stuff that I've read, it feels like the first time that more than just lip service is paid to Miles is like he's Afro-Latino.
Yes.
And like, I just was curious how you approached that and like,
Yo, thank you for bringing that up, because he is Afro-Latino, right? Like he is Black and Puerto Rican, both of which are super rich cultures, and so I wanted to make sure that we got that in, right? So, yeah, it was crazy. I called literally every Puerto Rican person in my life, call all my friends, like call everybody. And was like, all right, so I got everybody on board, because I'm gonna be calling you throughout this process to make sure that I'm getting certain things right, and to add nuances that I know I just don't know, right? Even though I lived in New York forever, and you're around tons of people, it's like you know things, you think you know things, right? Based on proximity, but you can't make that assumption. So I remember like just certain things like in the very beginning of the book, right? They had the Sunday dinner, and his mom was, they had chicharrón, right? And like, that was big. And the crazy thing about having like chicharrón de pollo is like, I was like, bet we get to kill two birds with one stone. For those who don't know, they having Sunday fried chicken, right? And it's like, for me, it was like, that's what's up. And the other thing was, I knew for a fact that like everybody would be like, why you gonna have that boy eating fried chicken in this book, right? Right? Seriously. And for me, it's like, because I shouldn't have to care. Because my mom eats fish every single Friday, and right, like that's a thing. So it is what it is, and everybody's gonna have to do it. Right? And so like that was, and another part of the book, what I won't spoil, but another part of the book, he comes home from school, and he walks up the steps and the music is blasting, and he comes inside, and his mom is in there playing like Celia Cruz and the Fania All-Stars, and they have a moment where they're like, she's like, come dance with me, right? And they're having this moment, because that's how we do, right? And they're all, the thing about being Afro-Latina, and now it's X, right? Is it Latinx? Is it Latinx? Thank you very much. Just so y'all know, that's where we are. That's what we doing. So that's what I'm talking about, right? Inclusivity is key. And so the beauty of that is that those cultures are so similar, and they're so interwoven and connected, that it really was kind of sweet just to go through and be like, this is amazing for me, even for me to just have almost like I'm discovering all these things. I'm like, this is dope, right? The way that she talks to him, the way that she talks to her husband, the way like to me, Rio Morales is amazing in the book. The way she loves him, right, and is protective of him and is afraid for him, the same way that my mom and Black mothers are with their children. I mean, like Casteles is in the book, and I mean, it's very, he shares both of those cultures, and it was an honor for me to put that in the book, to put both of those cultures in the book as best as I could. So, and I hope all of my Latinx enemies read it and they're like, you did us justice too, which is also very, very important.